If you are a short-term rentals host, you're tired of doing everything on your own. You want to automate this process. And what I'm going to show you today with Beyond Pricing is going to help automate pricing for you and make you a little bit more money along the way. Pretty cool. If you're ready to get started with Beyond Pricing after this video, make sure to go down into the description, click on my affiliate link, and you will get a free month of Beyond Pricing, as well as a $30 credit towards any of your listings. Ready? Let's get to it right now on the Fearless Investor YouTube channel. Make sure to comment and subscribe to this channel so that you can get updated with everything short-term rentals. Hey everyone, welcome into this review of Beyond Pricing. My name is Kyle Stanley. This is the Fearless Investor YouTube channel where we're talking about real estate and short-term rentals all the time. And I got to just kind of back it up for a second and let you know that I was the skeptic when it came to Beyond Pricing. When I first got into Airbnb, I had about 5 listings. And I really did not think that Beyond Pricing worked. I tried it a little bit. I saw a little bit of success, but I actually saw my occupancy go down while I was using it. And I just kind of said, you know what? I've even told people, I'm like, I think that if you use a third-party pricing tool, Airbnb will actually move you down in the algorithm. That's what I thought. Then about I'd say 3 or 4 months ago, I got so busy. We got to 30 properties and I was like, there's no way that I can keep relying on all of my manual processes that I had in place for these listings while scaling this business. I had to bring in something. And so at that point I said, okay, what am I going to do? Everyone was using either Price Labs or Beyond Pricing, and the majority really was using Beyond Pricing. So I said, let's give this a shot again. Maybe I was doing something wrong. And holy cow, I definitely was doing something wrong. It was completely user error. Right away, doing it the right way, looking at some videos like this, I got an idea of how I could do it. And we've seen roughly a 20% increase in our bookings, not just occupancy. I'm talking about rates as well. So we're making about 20% more per booking. Pretty amazing. So with that being said, some of the common things just to know about with Beyond Pricing to start off, like I said, I've got a link down below. You can get your first 30 days for free. After that, they're going to charge you 1% of the gross revenue collected. So if you basically get $1,000 worth of bookings, you're going to pay $10. $10. That's all it is. 1%. Pretty awesome. Pretty much a no-brainer. But I'm going to make a big suggestion for you. If you decide that Beyond Pricing is the way you want to go, or if you want to do Price Labs, those are the two most common. Make sure to do it sooner in your business so that you can implement it with 1 or 2 or 3 listings rather than having to learn this entire thing with 30. It was about a week-long process for me to really implement it with 30 listings and to really learn how to use this thing. So I wish I would have gone back to myself when I was at that 3 or 4 or 5 listings and been like, just keep trying, keep on messing with it. It will work. Along with that, before I share my screen here and show you how Beyond Pricing works, I want to let you know the one thing that I'm not a huge fan of with Beyond Pricing, and just the honesty of this review, their customer service team is very small, it's very slow, and you can't get them on the phone. So if you're going to send an issue to them, just be ready to wait about 24 hours for them to get back to you. They do a great job of answering the questions. They're just not a very big team. So with that being said, let's show you Beyond Pricing. And I'm going to share my screen here. So I've got my calendar up on Airbnb, and then I've also got dynamic Beyond Pricing right here. So like I mentioned, we are right around 35 listings. About 32 of them are active on Beyond Pricing. And the number one thing that we're going to look at right now is, and I'm just going to keep this really simple, guys. I come on here every day and I look at my scores. So I want to have everything ideally in a good score, or at least a fair score. But then on a daily basis, I'm coming in here, I'm saying, okay, the ones that aren't fair or good, I'm going to work on. So for this one, for example, it's a brand new listing. I'm not going to do this one, but this one right here, it's a poor score. So I go on here and I can either adjust my price here, or I can adjust it here. Now, the reason it's scored as poor is because if you notice here, it's this little 33% and then 11%. If you put your cursor over this, it means 33% is booked in the next 30 days. And then 11% is booked in the next 90 days. And it shows you the average market is booked 60% in the next 30 days and 39% in the next 90 days. So it's gathering all this information to say whether you are good for your market or if you are too low for your market. And oh, by the way, there's an actual possibility of being too high for your market. So if I was 70% booked for the next 30 days, I'd probably be in really good standing. But if I was 100% booked for the next 30 days, or call it 100% booked for the next 90 days, that would actually negatively impact my score. And the reason for that is because I'm probably priced too low. So if I'm booked too far out in advance, I'm priced too low. So there's this happy medium, right? You're not the first one booked, but you're also not the last one booked. You're kind of in that middle ground of you're in a good price zone where all the really cheap ones are already picked up and all the really expensive ones are probably not going to get picked up. You're in that middle zone, if that kind of makes sense. So let's just take this one for example. Now, first of all, you can go over here and you can connect your account. So I have both my Airbnb and my VRBO accounts connected. One little trick here that I've noticed, if you want to get something updated right away, so if you change something on your Airbnb calendar, or if you change something on your VRBO calendar, and you want it to reflect right now on the Beyond Pricing, then you're going to have to go ahead and click the refresh. And so that will do it right away rather than waiting for it to refresh on its own, which typically happens 1 to 2 times per day. The other thing that you'll have to do to set it up, and you'll notice, I'll actually go to my listings here. So they give you a 3-step process, and it's actually on Beyond Pricing. So I'm going to just speed through this because it gives you more details on the listing, or on Beyond Pricing. But if I just go to any of these, we'll go to this remodeled 2 studio. So I'm going to go to pricing and availability. They want you to do a few things. First of all, they want you to turn the nightly, the smart pricing off. So turn smart pricing off. You're going to do an absurd base rate. This thing is getting basically like $60 to $70 per night, this little studio. So I put $790. That way, basically they tell you that way it's not getting overrode. I don't know what the right word for that is, but it's not overriding the pricing that Beyond Pricing is trying to do. So by putting an absurd number, Beyond Pricing will always be under that number. There's no discounts. You can't offer any discounts. Okay. Your discounts can all be done in Beyond Pricing. You'll see that in a second. And then if you want to do any nightly extra fees, so your cleaning fees are definitely done here, your extra fees are done here, and then your extra guest fees are also done here as well. So you can keep those in. Do not have a weekend nightly price set. Okay. And then under availability, you're going to have a crazy high maximum nights as well. So you're setting this here. Then everything else, these custom trip lengths and this minimum stay, this is all actually being set through Beyond Pricing. And then it kind of through API connection gets sent to Airbnb or VRBO. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. So if we go back to home and I go to that one listing that I'm going to work on, 44, I want to get this up above 50 at least, so it's fair. I can do a few things here. So first of all, when I hover over these prices that you see, this green number and light green box means it's already been booked. So it was booked at $108 per night. And you can notice that this was probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day stay. And it actually says that right there. If you notice, it says April 19th to April 26th. And it averaged out to about $108 per night. The reservation total was $758. All right. So with that being said, I can also see that, hey, there's 3 nights right here that are not booked. And if you notice, they're less than $108 per night. But how is it getting these prices? So the first thing that we do is we set the base price and then we set the minimum price. So my base price, what I can do is I can look at nearby listings, and I want to find some nearby listings that are doing really well that are 2-bedroom places. So it's actually gathering 2-bedroom places in the area and showing you what they're listed at, where their location is compared to yours, and also what their score is. And so I look at a couple of these and I see, okay, 131, we got 77, we got 118, and I'm kind of just trying to like average it out here. So I see as low as 77, I see an 81, I saw what was that as high as 131, 171. Holy cow. I'm probably going to go to this one and try to find it on Airbnb and actually see like what is making this thing so stinking good. But this is still a fairly new listing for me. So I feel like based on everything I'm seeing here, based on what I know about the place, it's not in the best area. It's a safe neighborhood, but it's not like, an ultra nice neighborhood. I'm going to actually just go ahead and go in the middle of all these, which is why I have it at that $99 base price, because you see as low as 77, as low as 81, but then, really reasonable at 131. So right in the middle, I feel pretty good at $99 right there. So with that being said, $89, that's like, hey, I don't even like going that low. Like if I'm going to go that low, it's probably going to be because it's a last minute booking. And so by setting these, then Beyond Pricing puts their algorithm together. And if you notice on these dark ones that have not been booked yet, it's going to show us how it's getting to that $99 price. So the base price was $99. The seasonality, it's a hotter season, is $10, but the day of the week is a tough day to book. Mondays are reasonably tough to book. So it's going to subtract $10. And then if we go to Tuesday, base price was $99. Surprisingly, day of the week is actually harder to book on Tuesdays. So a little bit less than that. If we skip ahead to further ahead, we notice on the weekends, base price, an additional $23 with the day of the week. And how about we go to at the end of the month here, look at that, see those big prices, wonder why? Well, there's a event, Memorial Day. So not only are we going to get a bigger day of the week edition, but we're also going to get a $38 bump for Memorial Day. So all of these things factor in. And then if we really skip ahead, you'll see eventually that last line there says raised due to increase after 45 days. And by the way, look at a new one that we're seeing, an additional increase in local demand. So not only seasonality, but increase in local demand. So all of these things are being gathered. All this little information is being gathered to get us to the point of, and looking at this, guys, what is it going to take for you to do all this? What is it going to, if it were me, I'd probably just have this entire month priced at about 104 per night. And so if I go 104 per night, not only am I going to have a tougher time getting Mondays booked based on its seasonality, but I'm going to be way underpriced on Friday and Saturdays. And if I just look overall, the average, just kind of doing all these numbers in my head right now. And by the way, I might even forget Memorial Day. I've got so many different listings. What if I forget that there was a holiday? And so looking at all of these combined together, just doing some quick math and estimates in my head, I'm thinking we're probably actually on average about 120 per night if we get all of these booked. So 120 per night is an extra $16. An extra $16 for 30 days is an extra $450. That's a big deal. That's a lot more income. I'll gladly pay 1% of the gross income if it will make me an extra $450. I'm basically going to pay probably about $30 for this thing to make me about $35 for this to make me about an extra $450. I'll take that all day, right? So this is the basic here. You go and look at nearby listings, you compare it, you change your base price, you change your minimum price. But then, if you really wanted to get deep into the stats, you can go to the chart. You can see time of the year. This is going to help you to understand, hey, February is going to be a lot lower. You can look at this and this is forecasting everything that's coming up. So you're going to see, okay, wait, July is going to be pretty big. That's pretty cool watching all this. So I can kind of get an idea for what my high season and low seasons are going to be. This allows me to decide, hey, February looks like it's gonna be a low season. Maybe I want to try to lower my prices and get longer term stays so that I don't have all these vacancies. This can be really helpful for determining high season versus low season and how you're doing your minimum night stays. Stats, again, just another great thing that you can kind of look at. It's basically going to look at what your bookings are. Okay. So if you notice, these are basically things that have already been booked. So kind of fun, if you're a numbers person, I don't really spend much time in this market data. It's going to show you the average market for these types of listings. Here is the 2 years ago occupancy. Here's the past year. And then here is the future occupancy. I'm not sure, again, how much knowledge you're going to really get from all this, because again, I don't really spend all my time here. I just want to show this a little bit. The big thing that I spend most of my time in is the calendar and the customize. So when I customize, here's a big thing. We already set our minimum prices, right? You can set a maximum price if you want, but why would you want to set a maximum price? Do you really want to make Airbnb or Beyond Pricing cut it off at a certain point? No, you want to make as much money as possible. So I just set a minimum price. Then you can do a seasonal minimum prices if you want to. This particular area is really consistent. In Fresno, California, it's really consistent. The lows are not very low. The highs are not super high. So I don't really have a seasonal minimum price, but that's something that if you're in a place where July is just off the hook and then February is just dead, maybe you want to do a seasonal minimum price in February that's, call it 30% lower than this price, just so you can start getting that booked out a little bit further in advance. Just a thought. You don't have to do that. I'm going to come back to minimum stays. That's the most important. Last minute discounts. This one is fun. This is what I do just to kind of, get some more bookings, some higher prices, and then also you can have some fun with it. So one of my places looks much different than this, but most of my places have these defaults. We decrease the price by 20% for the next 3 days. We get a lot of last minute bookings. For that reason, I want to entice people to book with us last minute. But I definitely don't see a ton of in the future bookings. So if someone's going to book with me in the future, I really want them to pay a premium. So I increase my price 10% after 45 days. I increase my price 20% after 70 days. If you are in a vacation area where you're getting a lot of, call it, 3-day bookings, I'm getting a lot of, 7-10-day bookings, and then we fill in the gaps with one. If you're getting a lot of weekend bookings, and let's say a weekend's coming up and you're a week out, maybe you want to decrease the price 7 days out by 10%, and then 4 days out by 20%, and then maybe the day before by 50%. You can do all of that right here. And I would say just get a feel for it, try it out. It's a really cool way to be able to make sure. And what I like about this too is it keeps you in the algorithm of Airbnb. It's always editing prices. So when you're always editing prices, it looks like you yourself are doing a lot of work on your site. When you do a lot of work on your Airbnb sites, typically you get ranked higher in the searches because Airbnb, that's in favor with Airbnb's algorithm, as well as a number of other things. If you have any questions about that, make sure to comment on this video. I'm happy to talk about that. Check-in and check-out days. I don't have anything listed here. Everyone can check in Monday through Sunday. If you don't want someone to check in or check out on a certain day, you can uncheck this, and then it basically will block that off as a day that someone could either check in or check out. Typically, this just means that you don't have enough crew or cleaners to be able to handle enough check-ins. So, and much easier solution is just get more cleaners. Turnover B&B is a great solution for that. You can find a lot of cleaners, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or just networking with friends. All right. So this is all great little things to use. Now, the minimum stays. The reason I'm doing this last is because this was a little confusing for me in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. I don't like the wording of this. This is one of the negatives that I have about this. There's a couple things that I really love about the minimum stays, a couple things I don't love so much about the minimum stays. So first of all, the annual minimum stay, I put 5 here. And so just so you guys know too, like full disclosure, I'm still getting a feel for Beyond Pricing. And so there's still some things that pop up that I learn and need to just keep on implementing. And that's the way you're going to feel too. So I'm not going to get too deep on this, but just know that these are some things that you're going to learn along the way as well. So I do a 5-night minimum stay. Some of you will be at 3, some of you will be at 10, whatever you want to do here. Reduce minimum stay to fill gaps. This basically means that if something is under, if there's called a 5-day booking and then a 3-day gap and then another 5-day booking, then that 3-day gap would then open up as 1-day stays. All right. Basically, if that was not checked, 5-day stay, 3-day gap, 5-day stay, then that 3-day stay, because it doesn't meet the minimum of the 5-day annual minimum, would essentially be blocked. So we select this, and all that's important is that you have the number 1. You don't have to fill out this next one. It'll automatically do it for you if you don't do it. But I decided I want to have anywhere between 1 to 5 days that are gaps reduced down to basically gap filling. Now, what I've noticed is sometimes these gap fills are 2 days, sometimes they're 1 day. Haven't really quite understood. I wish there was, and this is what I wish I saw on this. I wish it was reduced minimum stays for gaps of 1 with, and this was why it was confusing. I had to go back and forth with customer service a little bit. The nights with a buffer of 5 nights below the size of the gap, that's too wordy. I don't understand that. Maybe I'm dumb, but I just didn't understand that. So to me, it should have just been reduced minimum stays to fill gaps of nights under and name the amount of nights that it should be. So if it was a 10-day gap, yeah, I want to fill those gaps. But I wish there was a subsection that said, hey, if it's a 10-day gap, we're reducing that down to a minimum stay of 2 days. If it's a 15-day gap, we're reducing that down to a minimum of 3 days. If it's a 4-day gap, we're reducing that down to a minimum of 1 day. I want to be able to control a little bit more what those minimum stays can be in those gaps. That's what I would want. Because right now, if I do this, it seems like it does it a little bit on its own. And sometimes it's 1 day, sometimes it's 5 days. Sometimes it's 2 days. So I hope that all makes sense. This is very, very useful. What I would just say is keep on going back to your calendar. So for example, if I checked my calendar for the next week, and this is just a habit that I get in and a habit that I would encourage you guys to do as well. If I've got this and I'm getting bookings, I just want to make sure on this calendar that I don't see something popping up like right here that says minimum night. And you probably all have seen it before. It blocks it off and it says in black or like a dark gray, minimum night requirement. And if I did see that, then I would just make sure that I was overriding that with a rule set. So you can create a rule set. I have a 1-night stay rule set. And so I would just select that and I would save it. And that would then take out that minimum stay. So you might have to do a few manual overridings. And the reason I found this out, and here is the kind of caveat, this reduced minimum gaps applies to the annual minimum stay and the seasonal minimum stay. However, it does not apply to the last minute minimum stay. Let me explain. The seasonal minimum stay, I can say, hey, from April 20th to April 30th, a 2-night minimum stay. Well, if there's a 2-night stay and a 1-night gap and then another 2-night stay, the reduced minimums will fill in that 1 night gap. But if I have a last minute stay of, call it, let's say I added this, it's a 2 night minimum stay within 7 days. If that same 2 night stay is followed by a 1 night gap and then another 2 night stay, and this is all within the next 7 days, because it's in the next 7 days, this last minute stay overrides the reduced minimum filled gaps. Not a fan of that. I want to reduce my minimum gaps as often as possible. And so I wish that was a little bit different. Overall, though, guys, I hope you see the power of this. This is a very easy way to automate your entire calendar. If you notice, I've got it down to where, there's a 2-day gap there, there's a 4-day gap there, and none of these are, I used to have to go in and manually change those dates. I'd usually have to go in and be like, okay, now for what is this? This is, the 25th to the, what is it? 28th, we're going to do a 2-night minimum. And then, 2 nights would get booked, and then we would change the other 2 days to a 1-night minimum. And it was a lot of work. This takes care of the entire thing for you. It prices it out at prices that you would never even expect to get your place at. I just had one booking for 4 nights at $310 per night. I've never seen any of my places get over $250 per night. It was bonkers. All right. So you're going to make more money. Life's going to be a lot easier. Are you going to have to do a few things still from a manual standpoint? Yeah, just to kind of make sure that you're not accidentally getting blocked off. But I would much rather spend 5 minutes every morning checking my calendar than having to spend 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there throughout the entire day, wouldn't you? And to make more money as well. So this was a Beyond Pricing review. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope it's something that you find to be useful. If you're a Price Labs fan, share with us maybe some of the things that you like about Price Labs versus Beyond Pricing. Comment down in the comments on this video. I would love to hear what you like about it, because I've never used Price Labs. I really do enjoy Beyond Pricing. I'm really a fan of when customer service is responding to things, that they really are thorough and always open to some suggestions. So that's it. If you want to go get started on Beyond Pricing, just go down to the description, and in the description, you will see my affiliate link that will have a free 30-day trial, as well as a $30 credit once the trial is up. Pretty cool. That's it. I hope you enjoy.